Trend following is an important strategy in any portfolio. In fact, billions of dollars are trading trend following strategies in many hedge funds around the globe. The problem with long-term trend following is you give up a lot of the profits before you exit. That's just part of the signature of this strategy. So a question which I get often is, does a trailing stop help a trend following strategy? Stick around to find out. Hello everyone, my name is Ali Casey and thank you for joining me on StrategyQuant channel where we discuss finance, investing, algorithmic trading, and everything else in between. If you are new to this channel, welcome aboard. Thank you for joining me. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the great content that I post 3 times a week on this channel. I post Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Trend following strategies come in many flavors. There are breakouts, moving averages, linear regressions. You can build a trend following strategy in many ways. And this is a typical trend following strategy. You want to capture all this without getting out, for example, here or here or here or here. So a simple trend following strategy really is just a breakout, let's say 40 days to 100 days, depending on your time horizon. And most hedge funds actually mix and match many time frames to get a blend of everything, because they don't want to pick the peak, say 50 days is the best. You don't want to get the best because most likely it's not going to happen in the future. So you mix, let's say, I don't know, 50, 100, and 150. So then you get a blend of all these trends. Of course, the faster trends will capture faster moves, and the slower trends will capture long-term moves, basically in months or sometimes years. The problem shows up often is in a long-term trend, when you get to, let's say, 200 days or 150 days, usually the exit will be far long from the top. So basically you make lots of profit. Let's say you make 100,000. Usually you exit around 65, 70,000. And that's just part of the signature of the strategy. So the question I get often is, will a trailing stop help the strategy? Because the trailing stop keep moving up to lock profits in. Of course, the drawback is most likely you will exit a lot of the trends before they finish. So it's a balance between how close or how far to the strategy. Now, in theory, it's all good and dandy, but we need to test to find out if it really helps, and if it helps, what's the stable region that we can use. So in Algo Wizard StrategyQuant X, I built this simple strategy, which is when the moving average is greater than the previous moving average, we go long, and we exit when it's the opposite. I've done this strategy before on the channel, and today we will mix it up with the trailing stop to see the benefits. Now first, let me show you some trick. So you can see here I have this variable, and you can create this variable here. So you come to variables and you just add new variable and you name it whatever you like, and then I initialize this variable to 100. So then you come back here, and usually this is, so you just click on the 3 dots and you pick your variable. And the reason I do this is you will see in a second. So currently we have all the variables. I run a full back test, and this is the result. Let's say I want to change this to 80. So here I can just do 80, and it will change all of them instead of clicking on each one and changing them to 80. So for example, this is 80 now. And then if you want to check the trailing stop, so you can say it's an ATR base, and let's say we do 3 ATRs, and let's see the difference. And then you have to test 4 and 5. And of course, once you get into that, then you have multiple options, and you need a better way to test this. So we can use the optimizer in StrategyQuant X or in any platform. Usually you have some type of optimization to see the whole curve. So I loaded the strategy in the optimizer, and as you can see, we have the SMA look back. This is the entry. I just changed the variable, and this is the trailing stop. So first, let's see, well, if the strategy is working or not. And the data, so the data is the SPY since 2001, and we are $10 per trade, and we're using the whole account, $10,000. And so let's optimize for the SMA look back, and let's fix the trailing stop at let's say 15 so we don't hit it at all. So these are the results from 30 to 150, and they're all profitable. Now don't look at the profits because of course we're using the ETF, and if we use futures we will have of course different profits, but also the stability is not as good, which means that the curve doesn't look so nice. So for example, let's pick 70. So if I go back to Algo Wizard, and we can see that the curve will not look nice, as you can see, and that's what the stability basically is giving you. It's telling you that the curve looks crap. So now that we know that it is profitable strategy, albeit it's a crappy strategy, but overall it's a profitable strategy, and trend following usually doesn't work on its own. You need a portfolio. So let's assume this will work, of course, on other instruments, especially, of course. I mean, if you're doing trend following strategy, you have to know that billions, hundreds of billions of dollars are invested in trend following on interest rate, because interest rates are the most trending instruments in the futures market. And of course, we can prove this. I mean, if I just simply change, you can see the curve here. So let's pick. So this is the 2-year Treasury. This is the 5-year Treasury, 10-year Treasury. So we know that it works on treasuries, but of course I picked the most horrible market for trend following just to see what happens with a trailing stop, if it's beneficial or not. So we can see between 30 and 90 is stable region, and also 110 to 150 is a stable region. So let's pick 130. Okay, so that's much better return. And then we will try the trailing stop. So I will click this off, fix this at 130. And now we can optimize this from 1 to 12. So let me pick from 1 to 15. So as 15 should not hit. So this shows us that only 10 ATR trailing stop makes a little bit of difference. So this is 10, and we make $22,000 instead of $20,000. So it's a little bit more, but not significantly more, that enhances the strategy tremendously. And if we look at the compound annual growth rate, same story here. And if we look at maximum drawdown, it's almost the same. And average number of bars in a trade, it's a little bit better. So it does enhance it, but maybe 5 to 10% I would say on all KPIs. So I did the test in TradeStation also, and this is the strategy in TradeStation. It's again, if the average is greater than the previous average, then we go long and we exit on the opposite. And I have the look back here to optimize. So if I switch the trailing stop off, so let's go from 30 to 150. And here we are trading the 10-year treasuries. And like I mentioned, they're all profitable, of course, is on treasuries. So this is now the ES, and which is the futures, and it should be a lot more money making. And again, we can see they're all profitable, but with bad stability, which again means the curve doesn't look nice. Basically, it's not smooth, 45 degrees up. Now I will optimize the ATR trailing stop with the moving average to see if it affects all of them the same. And here is the curve. So this is the ATR from 1 to 12, 12 being that this is the original without trailing stop, because it will not hit, or probably it will hit only one trade. And then these are from 30 to 150, the moving average. And of course there's a huge difference. So we can see that. So we can see this is 30 to 150, and trailing stop from 1 ATR to 12 ATR. 12 being the without, you can consider it without ATR, and you can see that there is probably here, this is a patch that is a little bit better, and then this one here, it's a little bit better than that one. But otherwise, all the other ATR periods, they don't help the original strategy at all. And we can see that in drawdown. And again, we can see that this being the original strategy without ATR stop. And maybe there's a patch here in the middle that's a little bit better. And of course, we can switch to surface. We can see that. So 12, this is 12. So maybe 2 ATR is maybe a touch better here. So again, this is 12. And so here we have a little bit better. But overall, like, there is no significant, you have to look at this as one line. So which one is better than the 12? And it doesn't matter how you show it. There is not a significant enhancement. Like I can see this one. So this is on 130. So trend following, moving average 130. This ATR is enhancing the strategy, 9 ATR. Okay. And it looks like 9 ATR is better in 100, 110, 120, and it looks like it's better from 100 to 130, making an enhancement. So now I fixed the look back to 100. We can see again that maybe again number 9, it's a little bit better, but otherwise there's no significant change. Stability again, 9 is a little bit better. So 9 keeps cropping up as the best. And here it's a peak. So consecutive losses, consecutive wins again are the same. So from all this testing, and this is of course one market, it's really simple testing, but it looks like somewhere between 8 and 10 ATR trailing stop is good, at least for the S&P 500 market. So all these figures should match if you're trading the SPY or the micro futures or the mini futures, but they should also change a little bit as per market. So if you go to interest rates or crude oil, then this ATR trailing stop should change. But if you need to fix it for all markets, then probably, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 10 is good for all markets. Like I mentioned, trend following should be traded as a portfolio because you don't want to be just depending on luck and pick the only market that's going to work. Because that's the status of trend following, is usually some markets will produce the best profits, and then most of the markets will either produce scratch trades or losing trades. Of course, if you have any questions, any comments, please do so below the video and I'll be more than happy to answer it. I do read and answer all comments sent to the channel. Now, sometimes Google hold comments. I don't know why. Like I just noticed today, the comments popped up and it's dated 1 month old. So please bear in mind this when you put your comments in and it doesn't show up for whatever reason. And of course, if you want to take this further and be part of my inner circle, where I host live weekly questions and answer sessions alongside the tactical asset allocation portfolio signals, the stock seasonal portfolio signals, and the many code and strategies available for free in the Discord server, you can do that by following the link below. As always, good luck with your trading, good luck with your investing, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.